There's a real allure to the idea of being a racing driver. On the "what do I want to be when I grow up" list, it's right up there with astronaut. It's associated with excitement, glamour, and expense.
The thing is, you don't need all this fancy stuff to show off the Academy car. It's proper grassroots racing, but it's also probably the most affordable, cost-effective racing that money can buy for a proper racing series. And believe it or not, we've had this for 2 months now. Before we go any further, I wanted to have a deeper dive into the car and tell you what you need to participate in the Caterham Academy series. But first up, a quick history lesson.
In 1957, English automotive design engineer and inventor Colin Chapman built a lively little two-seater sports car. He wanted owners to be able to experience the pride of building their own cars and then take it on track, and came up with the mantra, simplify, then add lightness. And the 7 was born. Over 60 years later, Caterham still adheres to the original philosophy and turns out variants of the 7 with a lineup of models that range in power from 127 horsepower to 314 horsepower, with each car weighing just over half a tonne. The Academy is in its 26th year now, and with over 1,000 drivers taking part, it's considered one of Europe's most successful novice driver series.
And in terms of your car, for £30,000, which you can spread over finance for a couple of £100 a month, you get your very own road legal race car, which is yours to keep at the end of the series. And on paper, it doesn't sound like it packs the biggest of punches, but this is a Caterham.
The Academy car has a tuned 4 Sigma 1600 4-cylinder naturally aspirated engine. It has a maximum power output of 127 horsepower at 6,800 RPM, and it's not particularly earth-shattering in terms of torque with 150 Newton meters. However, its secret weapon is its weight, or lack of, topping the scales at around 550 kilograms.
All this means a power-to-weight ratio of 230 horsepower per tonne. Now here's where it gets a little bit confusing, because this car, when it's fully loaded with the roll bar and everything that you see here, weighs about 550 kilograms. The minimum weight that you can race in, that you must finish a race in, is 635 kilograms. So if, like me, you've got a paunch after the lockdown, you need to really consider your weight, because if you want to be super competitive and be at the top, weight, as we know in racing, means everything. And you have to finish your race 635 kilograms minimum, otherwise that's it. You don't get any points. And what that means with your power to weight ratio, 230 horsepower per tonne, is you've got a car that will take you from 0 to 60 in 5.3 seconds and have a top speed of 116 miles an hour. And believe me, in that thing, anything over 100 miles an hour, you certainly know you're doing it.
Caterham fits special Academy tyres which are designed by Avon with low grip in mind. This is done to help teach car control. We all know it's easy to go in a straight line, however, corners are where most people tend to lose their speed. By having less power, less grip, and a weighty roll cage, you'll learn the art of carrying speed through a corner without losing control. It also makes for some pretty dramatic racing. You see, less power doesn't necessarily mean less speed.
So for your £30,000, you get pretty much everything you need to race your car. You've got your roll bar, your harnesses, your fire extinguisher, you've got your rear rain light, which sadly we're going to need that in the UK. And everything is ready to race under the compliance of the BRSCC series. But like all manufacturers, there are optional extras such as tonneau covers, half doors, paint options. But the option I would tick before any other will be some sort of V-box, which essentially gives you racing data analysis on where you're going right, or sadly, more often than not, in my case, where I'm going wrong. So you can at least analyze it and study your data to try and get a little bit better.
Now don't forget, this is a Caterham and you can choose to build your car yourself.
Believe it or not, 40 to 50% of people, Caterham say, build their own Academy car, which I find quite astonishing, but it's a great way to know all about your car and how it operates and how all the nuts and bolts go together. And I've got to say, I've learned more in this last couple of months about mechanics of a car than I think I've learned in the last 30 or 40 odd years. And even though I didn't build my own car, I still felt part of the process from a very early stage because I was involved in the design of the car. And Caterham were brilliant. I fired through a few different design ideas and so did they. And we agreed on a livery that I thought was absolutely fantastic. And when the cover first came off with Simon Lambert at their headquarters, it was a real wow moment. There's been a bit of a curveball since then, and that was from me because subsequently our TV show On the Road has been sold internationally, which you'll see more about soon, and we're planning a series 2 which will come out hopefully towards the end of the series. So we had to juggle things around a little bit to get the logos on the road. So you might have noticed, for those observant ones about you, it's changed a little bit from the day we picked it up. There's a little bit of a spanner in the works because although Caterham and MFX Wraps, who did the original wrap, were so helpful and would do anything for us to put the new logos on, we're based in the southwest, they're based in Gatwick. It's about a 360, 370 mile round trip. So we went to our local dealer to help us out. And there's 5 dealerships around the UK, so there's probably one fairly close to you. You've got Gatwick, Oakmere, Silverstone, Crazy Horse, and our local dealerships near Bristol is Williams Automobiles, who I've known for many, many years. And they put us in touch with a designer called Ikin from ICM Designs, who has the funkiest Caterham designs I've ever seen. He also does helmets and all sorts of really cool designs. I'm definitely going to use him for some other stuff as well. We agreed in the end that we wanted to keep with the original ethos that MFX Wraps and Caterham and I agreed in the beginning with the black, red and white. So we just changed things around just a little bit to accommodate the new logos and to make sure that we're still on brand. But he's a very talented guy, and I think I can get a helmet done from him in the future as well. So with the design in the bag, we went to another local company through Williams, who they use for their Caterham specialist wrapping called Shades Wraps. They're also in Bristol, and they put this together and took it apart, like I think with their eyes closed. But we have before us the final design, the final Caterham car that you'll see for the rest of the season, hopefully all in one piece. And you might have noticed that we've stuck with black wheel arches and a black nose cone. In fact, loads of the Academy cars have done the same thing, and that's because it's real bumper to bumper, wheel to wheel racing, and you'll often finish a race without some of your body panels on the car. And the good news for me is Caterham are looking after my car, so they're going to replace any items I break. So I got nothing to lose. Those 50-50 situations, I'm going to have my elbows right out and try and muscle the little Caterham through any space I can possibly find. But having said that, I do love this car, and I'm probably, I would say, going to be the first media driver ever to want to buy their car at the end of the season. I've really become attached to it already. I'm hooked. I'm hooked on this Caterham experience and hope to go from the Academy to the next level up, which will follow in another video.
Of course, safety in motor racing is super important these days, and as such you're required to have some fairly extensive gear, plus a few other bits thrown into the mix that may come in handy. This includes a big warm jacket and a bobble hat, fireproof underwear often referred to as Nomex, a 770-piece Caterham Lego set, optional, a full-face crash helmet, this one's painted by Piers Dow which should knock a second off my lap times, a snazzy set of fireproof overalls, some kind of FHR front head restraint which is typically either a hands device or a hybrid FHR with body straps, and a nice pair of gloves.
So there you have it, your £30,000 gets you your very own road legal race car. It also gets you a racing license, tech support from Caterham, and lots of other guidance from Caterham as well. It gets you, of course, the racing, but I think most importantly, you become a racing driver.